Anybody else?
We are just going live. Okay, you're all set. Thank you.
I call the meeting of public safety to order.
Yep, you're on. Anybody else? We are just going live. Okay.
Can we get the agenda up?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm doing that right now. Wait a minute.
There you go.
Okay, thank
good?
you.
Yep.
Mr. Kennedy, welcome.
Good morning. I have nothing that needs action on right now, but I have a couple things to update you on. On my report on the tower site at Bradford School, we were waiting on Bradford to review the lease agreement. Actually, since I submitted the report, they've sent it back to us where their lawyer has a few changes or things they want looked at. So now that's back over to Stephen to be reviewed. And then the other thing, the contract renewal with WTH mapping is also over at Stevens for review. That's our mapping service we use with 911. It's annual maintenance. It's $2,500. It hasn't changed in 3 years, but that will be back in front of you at the end of June. I assume Stephen will have it reviewed and we'll have that back in front of you. The other item is the intermunicipal agreement with Steuben County regarding 911 call processing equipment. We've been in talks with Steuben and Chemung and some other counties for over a year now about trying to do a solution for call processing and 911 calls that we buy the same equipment or group purchase it type of thing. Our call processing equipment is at end of life. So we're looking at replacing it. And I didn't know they had gone quite this far ahead, but Steuben County passed a resolution this past month to enter into an intermunicipal agreement. There's no cost or anything, just to look at purchasing equipment. It'd be so that we'd buy call processing equipment. With some of it would be housed here, some would be housed in Steuben, with the idea that it could flow information back and forth utilizing the Southern Tier network, fiber network, and our ring that we already have in place. It'd be the same system that Yates and Seneca have. So ultimately, we be able to interconnect all the 911 systems together. I would be looking to bring a resolution forward to enter into an agreement, but at this time, it's not a cost. It's just to look at purchasing this together.
Okay. Any questions of Bill?
Okay. Okay. Thanks. Bye. Thanks.
All right, Van, I see you're
Legislator
here. You
Harper,
take over.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Van. It's yours now.
We're at public defender.
Van? Van, are you there?
And
Looks like he left.
no, he's on.
we've lost him again.
I see
No,
him.
he's there.
Oh, is he muted?
No.
All right, well, we'll continue on with public defender. Morning, Wes.
Good morning, everybody. How is everybody?
Great.
Good. I just have one resolution this morning. It's a contract to continue services with the Office of Indigent Legal Services. This is, I believe, the second or third renewal of this contract. This is what converts Mark from a less than full-time public defender to a full-time public defender. And it supplements both his.
Yeah, Carl.
Yeah, you're muted. Try turning your volume up.
Okay.
He's not muted.
No, I know that was a slip of the tongue. I turned his volume up.
This pays for a chunk of Mark's benefits plus salary plus a piece of Lisa's salary.
Okay, have a motion on this?
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Yes.
Jeez.
Can't see you, but we can hear you.
Gray will make the motion.
Have a second?
Who was that?
Second by Reed.
Thank you.
All in favor, aye.
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 All right,
Have
Van,
nothing
now I
else?
see your smiling face, loosen your nose up.
Yeah.
We can continue from here.
All right, where did you stop?
We're at the district attorney now.
Okay.
I don't believe we have anybody for the district attorney in attendance, so it'll be moved to the sheriff.
Joe's not on. Okay. Sheriff Yesman? Sheriff on?
Hang on a second.
Probably can't unmute.
We find him. All right, I'm unmuting.
Okay.
Trying
he's
to
on mute
unmute.
now.
Okay.
I have nothing for
Okay,
action. Some things that to update you on. We continue to respond.
Can you get a picture? And you say he's huge. I don't
We're
know.
getting a lot of interference.
Somebody needs to mute their phone.
I guess.
Okay, we'll try this again. Some things we continue to respond to: social distancing complaints. Out in the county, there's few. They're mainly in the village of Watkins Glen. But we continue to respond and try and educate people when we get them, and talk to them about the wearing of masks and social distancing. There was a peaceful protest in Lafayette Park yesterday. There was absolutely no issues with that protest at all yesterday on our end. I drove by, they were quiet, waving at everybody and following all the rules. So it was a good protest. We're also working with Odessa Montour and Bradford Central School to provide some type of graduation to the seniors this year. Things are still in the works, but we're going to try and assist them in providing something for them. And that's pretty much all I have. You should have all received the jail population report I submitted last month, and that was for the entire 12-month period. So anything for me?
What's the daily population today?
I believe we might be at 9. We had an admission a couple weeks ago, and I think he's still there. So we got word from docs they're going to start taking transfers from local jails. There's regulations set up for that. They have to be COVID-19 tested with a negative result. They have to be isolated after their test till intake. We haven't received word on how they're going to notify us or the time frame they'll notify us, but we're waiting on word. We have 2 right now that are state ready, and we will be receiving reimbursement from the state for housing them past the 10 days that they were sentenced, and we're supposed to go.
Thank you.
I have one thing for the sheriff, okay? A gentleman named Keith Rexis up in Odessa emailed me
and wanted to know if we have an oversight committee on the law enforcement in Schuyler County. And I told him that the oversight committee has to do with public safety and the criminal justice committee composed of 4 legislators. And I left it at that, but there's a chance that he'll be coming to a legislative meeting in the future. And basically what this guy wants, which I don't like, is have another committee made up of independent people, not independent, but private citizens that will monitor the sheriff's office. I don't think it's needed, but I just wanted to make aware of that there's somebody out there that is talking about this.
David, he emailed me also yesterday. I replied back to him to give me a call and we'll have a discussion on it. And, you know, I'll let him know my feelings. I think there's more on the, not locally, but nationwide or even in New York State on the hiring processes and continuing education for police officers that, you know, other professions have to have so many training credits to maintain their licensing, but law enforcement, once they get their certification to be a police officer, that continues for their career unless they're terminated for cause and then their certification's removed. But I'll have a discussion on him if he'll call me and we'll talk about it.
Do you know anything about it?
So you're
Sorry,
the only thing I got was
It's
an email
Dan.
and I responded to it. So,
Okay.
yep.
Okay, I responded to him that give me a call and we'll have a discussion on it.
Okay. Very good. Anything else, Sheriff?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Probation, Chris? Anything? If not, I have a resolution that I drafted. I had Steve Getman review it, and he did some touch-up, did a good job. And basically, it's captured here in the paragraph. What's any discussion? Anybody have any thoughts about it?
Is anybody going to pay
No
any
questions?
attention to, anybody going to pay any attention to it?
Well, I mean, that's a good question, but I think the fact that we raised the issue that there's a few more people than us that are interested in it, and by virtue of the submission, concerned about it also, that I think they would at least take note of it, and it could very well stimulate some questions and discussion at a much broader and a different level than what we're at right now. Okay.
Okay.
Is there anyone have any questions or anything else? Please do, and if not, then I'd like to bring it up, move it for a vote and approval.
So you make the motion, Harp?
It sounds straight.
Yes. I'd make the motion.
Reed second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Hearing none opposed, it passes and goes to the regular meeting Monday night.
Okay. Good. Thank you very much, Stacy. And thank you. Anyone else have any questions, any other issues for the Public Safety Criminal Justice Committee? If not, I apologize again for having the problem. I've got all the notes and to get through here, but it's very difficult, and I may move down to the park there and do it from my laptop down there. Okay, from now on. But anyway, if not, motion to adjourn the committee.
So moved.
All in favor?
Second read. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Thank you very much.
Was Jim able to join us, Tim? I don't see.
I don't see him on.
Okay. He was having technical difficulties this morning with his computer as well. There isn't anything on the agenda, but because it was done so far in advance, I left it there in case something came up. Somebody wanted to discuss anything, ask questions of Kenny or.
And we do actually have something for buildings and grounds. We received a request yesterday, actually, and actually I will share this with you.
Well, let me
I'm not sure if it.
call it to order and Phil will have to run this
Yep,
meeting.
I'm sorry. Yep.
Senator Barnes?
Yeah, let's get the agenda up and we'll go from there.
You
Please.
should have the agenda.
Still public safety.
I've got Public Works. Hang on a second.
You're the
Jesus.
only one.
All right.
Hey,
Are you
There we
seeing that
go.
now?
Thank you.
I got it.
Excuse me 1 second.
I really hope this is the last time we have to do it this way.
You.
I think this is great. We should do this all the time, right?
That's right.
Tim?
All right,
All right.
we'll call the meeting to order. Tim, you on record?
Sure. Just a second. I'm still trying to unmute Chairman Blowers there.
You just didn't want to listen to me, that's all.
I'm not sure why it's so intermittent, but so
It
as I
fine,
was
then it went
beginning
on
to say
mute, turned on the lock.
before the meeting started, we did receive a request yesterday from Larson Design on behalf of the Village of Watkins Glen. They're completing their connections for the sewage treatment plant, and the most efficient way to connect the force main from the former wastewater treatment plant site is to use encase it in the existing line and do the connection. To do that, they would need to go onto the county parkland property and go under the railroad tracks to do so. They're asking if the county has any objection to, they would involve digging up the parking lot to be able to get to the line, and then they would restore it to its original condition, and it will help complete the project. So my initial response was I didn't see any issues with that. I would bring it to the legislature today. I did share it with Ken, and Ken, you can chime in. My understanding is Ken doesn't have concerns either, as long as there's restoration. But Ken,
Tim,
you want to add to that?
Tim, can you
Whoops.
unmute Kenny? Tim,
Yeah, I'm
unmute.
trying to unmute you as well. Ken, don't do anything. There you go.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Like I said, we have nothing for action today, but yes, I did receive Tim's email in regards to the sewer line project on the park. I have no issue with it. They'll restore it to like when they're done. I have not heard anything from David, but we also need to do some work along the railroad tracks to tie in for our car chargers. So this may be an opportunity. Maybe we can have them actually do our dig for us, since they're going to be on our property. So it may benefit us. So
Kenny, how long will that take?
They're saying what, June 15th, they're gonna start the week of June 15th. I can't see it being longer than a week to do that.
That's not bad.
Tim, do you have any more info as to the length of the project?
No, I would think it'd be fairly quickly though.
Okay. Other than that, have no action. Buildings and grounds department's been busy, getting the buildings ready to reopen. Possibly Monday we'll have, people in the building again. As far as highway department, we're working and prepping, getting ready for projects. With that being said, I had a meeting with our New York State County Highway Association yesterday, and we're being told our CHIPS money is going to be there. They are not processing any reimbursements at this time, and it's still a risk. And with what the governor has done, just recently with his authority, I don't think that I dare proceed with projects until I see CHIPS letter in my hand saying that the money's there.
I agree with you.
Yep, so do I.
And that's all I have, unless you have something
Do you
for
need a
me.
motion or anything, Ken?
No,
Okay. Anything else for Ken?
No.
Okay,
okay, have a good day.
thank you, Ken. Have a
Thanks,
motion to, have a motion to adjourn the Public Works Committee.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you very
I'm
much,
pausing.
Phil. Appreciate it.
I'm pausing the recording on Zoom and trying to correct Chris Rosno and the sheriff. Although I don't know if you're still staying on, but
I'm on. Pam.
Okay. What about Chris Rosno?
Yep, you got me unmuted. Thank you.
All right. For some reason, it's not happening automatically when I do it. Before we get started again, is there anybody else that can't? Is there anybody else that can't unmute themselves? Okay,
How would you know?
Michael. No, Michael.
Okay, Michael, you're up.
Wait a minute.
Assume he's there.
Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Actually, Deb Minor, you can unmute yourself, okay?
What about Mark Rondinero? Because he's part of this committee. He can't.
No?
He's
All
shaking
right,
his head no. There you go.
okay.
So we-
Anybody else?
LaSalle, Harp, Rondinero, and Gray for this committee meeting.
Yeah, Mark's unmuted.
Okay. All right, then I will resume recording in now. Okay.
Is LaSalle here, Stacy? I don't see him.
I'm here.
Yep,
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
we're good to
You're not
go.
on the list. Yeah, you are. Okay.
Tim, can you pull up the agenda?
Yes, I can.
I've got Joanne on first.
Okay, now is that being shared?
Yes.
Yep, I got it.
Got it.
Okay.
Joanne?
Yep. So the first, I have a motion to authorize our renewing the contract with Kate Ebersol, doing business as Key Concepts for Training and Mentoring Services at an hourly rate of $125. And any prep time will be billed at $75 an hour plus mileage reimbursement at 57.5 cents. Any 2-day training will include lodging and it's not to exceed $10,000. This is no increase over our 1920 training with her, and it's for June 1st through May 31st.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Mark, and a second?
Gray seconds.
Rondinero and Gray.
So Joanne, this is basically for internal training of staff?
Yes, this past year we did a whole supervisor series. We just finished that up. This is to continue some of that. She's also been doing some coaching to reinforce the skills with the supervisors, but we would like to do some training with our frontline staff on crucial conversations, critical thinking, those types of things too.
Do you have anything in place to measure effectiveness or whether people are actually retaining the skills that they're being taught?
Other than seeing them put it to work in their daily jobs, I don't have anything formal.
Okay, but your feeling then at least is that at a anecdotal level that it's effective.
Yes.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay, Joanne, the second motion?
The second motion is to renew the contract with the Schuyler County Attorney's Office for general legal services in the amount of $257,400. And this is a decrease of $7,100 over 2019. And the term is January 1st through December 31st of this year.
Do I have a motion?
I
I'll
will move it. I'll second.
Harp and Rondinero.
Any further discussion?
What is driving the decrease? Is that just availability of reimbursement or?
No. So one of the things that we can't pay for, and maybe Steve wants to talk to this about this since he's on too, is I think it's the number of JD cases that we've had. We cannot reimburse them for being the presentment agency for the county for JD cases.
To some extent, this is another unfunded mandate. As everybody knows, they've been shunting criminal cases into the juvenile system, meaning 16 and 17-year-olds that otherwise would have been prosecuted in criminal court by the DA's office are now coming over to family court and the county attorney's office. But the state has long disallowed any reimbursement for those.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes.
Mike, if I may interrupt, Tim, Legislator Howell is on as reception, but he's unable.
I got it. He should be unmuted now.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No problem. Joanne, you have next on the agenda, the homeless.
Well, first I have a resolution to authorize the contract with Construction Management, LLC.
Yeah, Tim doesn't have the most current agenda up. I'm not sure why, but.
Oh, okay.
I just took it from what's on the webpage.
Oh, I changed it Monday.
Okay.
Yeah,
so there is
this morning, but
so this is another resolution. Through Medicaid, we are required to pay for children and adults who need adaptive equipment, such as ramps or fencing, just adaptations to their homes to make them have the ability to remain in their homes. So this is part of the Children Waiver Program, and we need to have a contract with this, the Construction Management Associates for providing the consulting services. They go out and they get the bids. They determine what the scope of the job should be. And then we basically are paying for this and the construction costs, and then get 100% reimbursement through the state through Medicaid dollars.
And what's the contract amount or max?
Oh, the amount,
I'm sorry, we haven't seen this.
oh, I'm sorry. It's not to exceed $12,000. And
Okay.
it goes back to October 1st, 2019, because that's when it started, and then September through September of this year.
Okay, I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
Second, I second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay, on to the,
And I still have one other resolution that I just brought actually late last night. We need to transfer funds for detention services. It's $250,000 from the foster care, child care line to,
I'll bring it up.
okay, thank you, Tim. So with the youth that we have been getting, they have been raised the age youth, which causes costs to be an increase. And we just need to move some money around in our budget to pay for the detention costs for the raise the age.
have a motion
And yeah, I'll move it.
and a second?
Second,
Second from Harp. Okay, Mark, go ahead.
And I just was, as far as you're concerned, there's enough overall money in the budget to be able to handle this for the rest of the year, or does it look like we're actually going to have to deal with this down the road overall, or?
We might have to deal with it down the road overall. I know that there's 3 more youth. One of them is committed the crime here in Schuyler County, but actually resides in another county. So should be theirs to pay for, because my understanding is it's the county where they reside. We are getting clarification from that, from OCFS, but we do have 2 other youth that have court coming up and potentially can be remanded to detention or placed in a facility.
Okay, well, I would appreciate, I guess, stay in communication with Tim as quickly as you have a projection on how much this is going to go over, because it's going to be a tight year anyway. I mean, we got to do it, but.
And this is, at least at this point, the raise the age youth are 100% money. So we should be get reimbursed for all of this part of it.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, on to the homeless.
Yes. So after last legislative meeting, I thought it might be beneficial if I shared some information about the homeless and temporary housing and how some of that works. I also asked Sharon Upham and Chris O'Connell to be present at this meeting, just so that if there are questions I can't answer or something that I misspeak about, they can correct me. So I just wanted to give you some quick stats to start out with. Basically, we had 122 homeless individuals in temporary housing over the last 12 months. Of that, there were 9 families with 18 children, ranging from birth to 17 years of age. 82 homeless persons were diverted in 2019. So far this year, 17 homeless persons have been diverted from temporary housing in 2020, which means that we were able to find additional or another place for them. A friend or family member were willing to take it into account. There were 148 adults that came in as homeless, and they ranged in age from 18 to 71, and the average age is about 36. So that just gives you the breakdown of how they came. We can go on.
Joanna, if you could just go back to the first screen.
Sure, Tim can.
Yeah, okay, right. So you have 122 in the past 12 months. But when you say they were diverted from temporary housing,
So we always ask them if they have other resources, because social services always should be the last resort for housing. So we will always ask them, you know, are there families and friends, and they need to list those. It's part of the application process. And then normally fraud will do a front end detection piece, and they will review, and we will make calls to their family or friends to see if any of them are willing to house them. Sometimes they burn that bridge then, and we end up having them come in again for homelessness, and they really are truly homeless now. But we really do work to try to not just put everybody up that comes in if they have another resource.
So from these numbers and your statistics, then the lion's share of them do get diverted, because your homeless cases are hovering in the mid-20s, it seems, for the last few months.
Yeah, we would have had over 200 cases that we actually housed if we would have not diverted that 82.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, could I follow that just to understand the 82 that were diverted are, so if somebody comes in and gets placed in temporary housing while you're trying to find if they have family or whatever, do they get
do that during the interview? Like that's all part of the interview. They would be calling to see if there's some other place they can go that day. Now, if they come in after hours, they go to the sheriff's department and the sheriff will put them up. But then the next day, we're asking those same questions, and they could then maybe just spend one night and then get diverted.
But would they, if they spent that one night, get counted in the 122?
Yes.
Okay.
That's one night to months of people being homeless.
So it's possible that some people show up both in the homeless number, that the placement number, and in the diversion number.
Yes.
Okay.
Because some of the people may lose their diverted housing also.
Yep.
Okay. Continue, Joanne. Yeah.
Sure. So how homeless are identified? Some just come into our office. Some are referred from Catholic Charities, mental health, FLACRA, other community-based organizations. And like I said, after hours, they're told to report to the sheriff's department. They receive a voucher for the night, and they're told they need to report to us first thing in the morning. So, and then we will start that whole process with them.
And a question about that voucher, that's the
motel
program,
voucher.
Right, but that's the program through Catholic Charities?
No, they're actually, depending on how if it's a family, they may be temporary assistance voucher or safety net vouchers, depending on their eligibility.
Okay, thank you.
I'm correct on that, right, Sharon and Chris?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. I just want to make sure. So reasons that people actually become homeless. We have people that are homeless because they're fleeing domestic violence. We have those that get released from prison or our local jail. Evictions, sometimes the housing they are in actually becomes condemned and they become homeless. And also we have people with mental health and substance abuse issues that just cannot maintain stable housing.
Are you having an uptick in each one of those categories based on what's going on right now for the last couple months?
So actually, no, because the governor has put into place that people cannot be evicted for like non-payment, those types of things. So as far as eviction because of non-payment, that pretty much is at a standstill right now, though. I'm thinking when that moratorium is lifted, we may see an influx of folks coming in. We have not, I don't think, seen an uptick in domestic violence, but I'm not, again, I'm thinking because of people not being in the community, it's not being reported as much, but the sheriff probably could speak to if they're responding to the same or more domestic violence calls.
Yeah.
I talked a little bit about the front end detection. We call it the feds. This is handled by the fraud unit. They will review the applications and they then go out and also interview the client to make sure that there are no other alternative housing options available. So.
Joanne, I couldn't unmute myself, so.
Oh, okay.
The hold on evictions for non-payment right now looks like August 20th. They may be able to start, but on a conference call yesterday, it looks like that may go till April of next year.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So could I throw in one on, you were talking about they contact people to see if there is any availability. If you're talking about homeless youth, can the youth be forced to be placed back with their original family unit even against their choice, or
so when you're talking about youth, if they're under the age of 18 and a youth is homeless and found, then that generates, especially if they're, it depends on what they're saying, I guess I would say, but if they're saying that they're being abused at home, that would then bring in a hotline, and that would be, they would be handled through the Children's Services Unit, not through homeless. We do not put somebody under the age of 18 in a motel. So they would either be, we would look for resources within the family, not necessarily with the parent, but a family, close family, friend, or relative that would be willing to house the youth. Or if we can't find any, then they potentially could come into my care and custody, but that would be a court order and go through the legal system.
okay, but I guess I'm still questioning. Let's say that there was an uncle who said, or an aunt who said, I can handle them, and the kid said, no, I want to be on my own.
So again, if they're under 18, that would become a children's services issue, and it would be on a case-by-case basis. We would try to have them go to a residence. That does not mean that they wouldn't flee again, which then may become a court issue at that point.
Okay.
So the independent living plan, all homeless people have to have an independent living plan. It is not mandated by the state, but if we want to impose sanctions, we have to have an independent living plan, and each one is tailored towards the individual. So it's not a boilerplate. There's some similarities, but each one is looked at as an independent independent living plan. So the purpose of the plan is to identify what barriers are existing for them to receive permanent housing. We establish the rules of temporary housing, and we make referrals and timeframes to complete contacting those other agencies. For an example, some of the rules might be they need to report income if they receive a job. They're not allowed to have overnight guests in the motel. They need to vacate the room between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. They need to present to DSS for a new housing voucher, and they need to turn in their housing logs. They're not allowed to use drugs or alcohols. That we can do unannounced visits at any time, and we do. And they need to comply with requirements regarding temporary assistance. That's just a brief overview. There's more to it depending on the person. So if somebody is non-compliant with their independent living plan, they'll get a notice of non-compliance. And with the first infraction, they can reapply again. And if they qualify for temporary assistance, we need to rehouse them again. They kind of start the process over, or they can be sanctioned depending on what the infraction is. On the second infraction, they will get a 30-day sanction, which means we will not house them. And it can be longer if they're not coming into compliance. Go ahead, Tim. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Code Blue, because this does really impact some of the things as far as the independent living plan and the ability to sanction. So there is a state regulation that says if the temperature is at or below 32 degrees, and that includes wind chill. So if it gets up in the high 30s, but there's a strong wind, it's below 32 and we're still housing. So housing assistance must be given, even if they're sanctioned, and even if they don't follow up or follow any of the things on their independent living plan. So I also wanted to share, we do use a variety of motels. They're in Montour Falls, Watkins Glen. That we also use motels in Chemung County, Tompkins County, Steuben County. I will also say if other counties get full, I know Yates County uses some motels in Watkins, and I know Chemung County has placed people here this year, especially during COVID and trying to socially distance people, even though that they have a shelter. There's also additional allowances for homeless folks. They get a restaurant allowance. They also get a home delivered meal allowance if they choose. We also, when they come homeless, they have furniture or other belongings, we will help pay for that storage. We will also help pay for moving expenses if they are moving out of the motel and they have a storage unit. We help with security deposits. We also, the emergency shelter payment, which is the motel. We will also help with first month rent to get them into an apartment. And if they need to furnish the apartment, there is an allowance for each room in the apartment based on the number of rooms and the number of people for them to have furniture for their place. And I think, and again, I would just repeat, we work very hard at being the last resort. We do partner quite a bit with Catholic Charities. They carry the HUD funding grants. They have money for rapid rehousing. Right now, Catholic Charities and Ithaca Housing and Cayuga Housing all have funding for Schuyler for people that are struggling to pay their rents through COVID because of income loss during this time. So we would refer to them to make sure that they're getting the services that they can get through them prior to us providing any of the assistance.
Joanne, is that the Ithaca Neighborhood Housing
Yes,
Service?
yes.
And what was the other one?
Cayuga Housing out of Yates County.
Yeah.
I think are the three, correct, Chris?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. On to the statistics. Does anyone have any questions for Joanne?
Statistics are awfully thin this month.
Well,
think we'll have to have reviewed them on our own.
yeah, I will say that the state is having some difficulty keeping up and giving us the statistics. The reports that we are getting are slow in coming.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if no one has any questions on that, we'll move on to the budget.
Yeah, pretty much everything is status quo as far as the budget goes, other than the raise the
Before
age.
doing that, I just wanted to interrupt it is interesting to note, and the lag time is becoming less, but when you look at the number of public assistance cases, we have not seen an uptick.
Right.
We're actually lower.
Right.
So just
Yeah.
want to point that out.
Yeah.
So what's happening there is if people are getting laid off or furloughed from jobs, they are applying for benefits, the unemployment benefits, which with the $600 from the federal that is also added into that, they are not qualifying for temporary assistance. And the other thing that we're seeing is the $600 is also putting some of our food stamp cases over income for right now. And so our food case numbers, I was just looking actually at May's numbers yesterday, and they're actually dropped a little bit. So in July, you'll see also that drop.
Okay. And on to the budget.
Tim, do you know what's going? I mean, I've got a little black
Yeah.
bar right down the center of my screen, which is the display of. So if there wasn't, I have already reviewed the budget, so I've got nothing to. But definitely, if we have anything.
Is everybody? Is that the same for everyone? Are you able to see?
We've all
Yes.
got the same
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
Let
think
me
we
try it
probably all
again.
looked at the budget.
So you're not seeing just the budget itself.
No, it's just a
No.
thin white strip. It looks like it got condensed or something.
Right, but it doesn't look like it's got the lettering in it too. All it says is HUM, so it's the title for Human Services.
All right, let me first close out of it and come back in. And are you seeing just normal screen now?
No,
No.
No.
yeah. It's
Same
different.
strip.
Matter of fact, your picture was compacted a little bit too.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay, now,
let's
yep,
try
now
it
we're
again.
back to the,
Joanne.
yeah.
Carl.
Okay, how's that?
There you
That's
go.
what we need. Thank you, sir.
Got it. Yep.
Good. Yeah, please let me know if you're not seeing things, so. All right. Now we're Okay, you have the budget page now?
Yes, sir.
All right. On the budget, what I will just offer in way of general comments, DSS is just but an example of this. You're going to see expenses substantially reduced as we look at the entire budget because we've frozen spending and we're being as conservative as we can. And that applies from personnel cost all the way down. But what you're also, we're not seeing is the revenue side of it. Nothing that would affect departments yet other than, countywide sales tax. So we don't know what the state's going to do, but the overall expenses are, the departments have done a good job in controlling what they can. So just for what it's worth.
Okay, does anyone have any other comments or questions on the budget?
No.
Anything else for Joanne?
Nope.
And
Nope.
Joanne, there's nothing as far as the Youth Bureau?
Not at this time, no.
Okay, then we'll move on. Tammy, I believe you're on. Do you have anything for us?
I do. I first of all just wanted to give a shout out to the Hector Fire Department and special thanks to Legislator LaSalle for setting up some free meal delivery from the Hector Fire Department barbecue that was done just recently. They offered free meals to individuals on the home delivered meal program out in their areas. So we had a couple of our home delivered meal volunteers pick up meals from the fire department and take them out and deliver them. So I know that they expressed extreme gratitude and just were so happy that somebody was thinking about them and offered that. So thank you so much for that.
Sure, no, it was our pleasure. It was a drive-through barbecue, but it worked out very well and the turnout was great. Your volunteers showed up and I apologize for not putting you down for your 5 dinners, but
That's okay. They all sold, so that was a good thing.
oh yes. Yep.
I also wanted to do a follow-up on the billboard advertising that we talked about last month. So having that contract approved, the ads are up this month. So we're focusing on volunteer recruitment this month. And if you haven't seen that, I have to say the ads are spectacular. I am thrilled with how well this all came out. So we have 5 ads right now that are rotating throughout the day and, watching to see, this just started. So we'll see how many responses we get to that. But talking about the volunteer recruitment, the position that we put into place through unmet need funds to have the volunteer coordinator has been just amazing. She has done an incredible job of recruiting volunteers to help with home delivered meals, to help with shopping assistance. They're picking up medications and delivering them to people. So we're getting volunteers into place all over. We also have recruited an additional high cap volunteer, which will be very important going forward into open enrollment. So I think this is money that has been very well spent. And in addition to her work with the volunteer recruitment, she has a background in marketing. So she has helped us really develop our ads in an amazing way that we have not been able to do before. None of us has that level of expertise, but she's created a YouTube channel. So we now are doing our nutrition education through YouTube. We can't do it in person, obviously. We don't have our congregate sites in place. So we've used that in place. And we're also going to be able to do other types of education and get information out to people that way. She's done great things with our Facebook page. She's updating our web page. So there's a lot of really wonderful work going on through what she's able to do and offer to us. So very excited about that.
Great.
And then the last thing I wanted to talk to you about is I just had some feedback this morning from Amy Churchill, who provides our legal assistance. And we're running into some issues with how we're going to move forward with her being able to do that. So as much as she's been able to provide the service remotely, she's done that, but there are certain things that cannot be done that way. And we have a concern with the interview room that she was using in our office. It's way too small. We did a walk through our area with Kenny Thurston and looked at the spacing and realized that the interview rooms are too small for social distancing. And there's really no way to separate people well enough to utilize those rooms. So we're going to have to do work differently, at least in the foreseeable future. And having her come in and provide her legal assistance there is just not going to work out. She could probably use a conference room, but then we have the issue of every single time a client comes in, it has to be sanitized. And who's going to do that? Are we going to offer those supplies to Amy and tell her she has to clean after every single client? Or is that going to be up to us to have to run down the hall and do that after every client? So there are things like that, that challenges that we need to figure out. And did talk to Deb Miner yesterday about the amount of time that people could be in close proximity, and really no more than 10 minutes. So if she had something quickly she was doing where we were witnessing the signing of a will or something of that sort, we could do that in 10 minutes. I think something like that would work, but we've got a lot yet we have to work out with that. So right now, bringing the legal services component back in, I think is going to be on hold for a little bit. So if anybody has ideas or thoughts on that, I welcome those. That's pretty much all I have. So
just
Hey,
back
Tammy, I
to
have a
the,
question about the contract. I don't recall, but I do know that law offices are in phase 2, I believe. So there should be some reopening. We might want to look at whether we have to amend the contract just to allow or require the contractor to use their own facility. It's not uncommon for an independent contractor to do that. That might make the most sense. We may have to renegotiate parts of the contract, but we should look at that as well.
in the past, we did have that requirement because our state legal liaison said that we can't, because there could be a potential conflict of interest and lack of confidentiality and things of that sort by utilizing county space. So we weren't allowed to do that. So I think we had probably 3 years of time where they did have to use their own office. They started to relax that a little bit because the issue was that our clients cannot easily access her office. So if you know where she's located, she's in the Shoemaker building at the corner of 4th and Franklin. And the entrance is on the 4th Street side. There's very minimal parking there. And if you have any kind of mobility issue, that's a challenge trying to get up over the curb and into the office or into the traffic and whatever. So that's why we started allowing her to come back to our building, but it is a challenge for sure.
Tam, I just wanted to jump back to the billboard for a second. You were saying that this has been up for more than a full week now, the ads?
It just started on Monday.
On Monday, okay. Yeah, because I was just going to say that I had heard no negative feedback yet, but I'll give it another week before I say that nobody's calling me to complain like they
Hopefully
did.
they like the ads.
Hopefully, yeah.
The ad, you know?
It's just people hate that billboard, and so my worry, as I stated before, is that having the county associated with it might draw some ire, but nothing so far. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, it does have the logo. It does say Schuyler County Office for the Aging. So that, I mean, that definitely is out there.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else, Tammy?
That's it for me.
Okay. And anything else for Tammy from anyone?
No.
All right, then we'll move on to public health. Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you.
Good morning, thank you. I have two action items for this morning. The first is a resolution to approve our grant with the New York State Department of Health for our early intervention administration. This is the 2020-2021 grant year, and there is a slight increase from previous years. So for the October 2020 to September 2021, it's increased to $21,641. The increase is attributed to the anticipation by the State Health Department that we would have additional children referred to early intervention as a result of lowering the threshold for an elevated blood lead level.
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Van. Any further discussion?
Yeah, could you scroll back to that, Tim? At the end of the line in the first whereas, can we remove that back? That's completely colloquial. Back in the year 2016 when I was a boy.
Yeah, good point.
Yep.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm good with it.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the resolution passes. Next, we have.
And then the second action item is a motion to authorize renewing our contract with Pauline Young for related preschool services. She is a speech therapist, and her rate remains unchanged. The only thing that I would ask is that the dates be adjusted. So her contract is actually for a 2-year period.
Yeah, that was my mistake.
Yeah. So the contract goes through June 30th of 2022.
Okay.
I'll move it.
Second.
Second from Harp. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Anything else, Deb?
Well, just two other items. First, I just want to report that we do have our upcoming rabies clinic on Saturday, June 6th. It is being conducted at the Burdett Fire Department. It's being conducted as a drive-through. And so as a result of that, it's been pre-registration only, and we are now full. We have all of the folks that we think we can accommodate in that 2-hour period. We have really prioritized our county residents only. In previous years, we never would turn anyone away who was from out of the county at our free rabies clinics. And we know that our partnering counties do the same, but because this is our first drive-through attempt at a rabies clinic, we felt we really needed to prioritize it to our own community members first. And we have encouraged anyone from out of the county to just contact their own local health department and ask about, what their plans are when they would be resuming their rabies clinics. We've also kept a list of folks that we were not able to include, and we will be having additional conversations with the Humane Society. They are considering possibly rescheduling a rabies clinic. They had one set for April 4th, but as a result of COVID-19, that was canceled. So they are considering whether or not they may reschedule that. Otherwise, our next rabies clinic is not scheduled until September 1st, and that's at cats only. So we want to make sure that, we're really providing the service to our community that we need to for those pet owners that rely on our free rabies clinics. So,
Deb, what's the head count?
I can't tell you how many pets are registered, but it was, I believe, 54 cars that we felt we could accommodate.
Okay, thanks.
And we've reached that capacity.
Thank you.
So more to come, and maybe this will be the new norm for us to do drive-through at some of our rabies clinics, like how to keep the pets away from each other. And then in terms of a COVID-19 update, our current numbers, we have 14 positive cases. We did not receive any new positives yesterday. We have 13 individuals who are being monitored in isolation or quarantine, and we've had well over 1,600 negative test results reported to us. We continue to see a decline in our southern tier numbers as well. So the report that I saw for yesterday showed that for the southern tier, there were looks like about 5 new positive cases and less than 10 total hospitalized patients in our southern tier. So that's a good thing. And we are doing very well with testing for the southern tier. It looks like every day we have been well over 1,000 tests in the southern tier. Some days we're exceeding 1,500. And we even had one day where we exceeded 2,500 tests that day. So there's still quite a bit of testing going on. And now with, our nursing homes and adult care facilities testing twice a week, all of their employees, and the beauty salons and barbershops needing to get their staff tested within 14 days of opening. And then every 14 days, I think we'll continue to see that, that level of testing for a while. Just as the sheriff reported, we continue to respond to complaints and concerns that we receive from members of the community. Some of it has to do with people wearing or not wearing face masks. We're also handling issues or concerns or complaints about outdoor dining or the ability for people to have outdoor dining because there's tables, et cetera, that are placed outside of restaurants where it really is supposed to just be takeout and curbside.
And if I could interject there, as you're well aware, there would, the move to phase 2 was a debacle, to say the least. Proclamations by local officials didn't help anything. We spent the weekend, maybe I spent the weekend annoying people, and I think we've corrected and gotten back on course with that. We are prepared to serve letters, through Deb from the Department of Health and the Board of Health, as a formal written notice. We have not had to do that. Businesses that were out of compliance have come back into compliance just with Deb's outreach on that. But I do want to state that, my recommendation will not be to initiate any action beyond that at the county level, and such as sanctions or closure. I don't feel that's appropriate. I think it's heavy-handed, and so far the compliance has been good. Should, however, there be refusal, that in the rationale that I used in employing this tactic was that this gives us the ability to now go to the State Department of Health, and where there are licensure or permitting issues, we're going to throw it back in their lap. I'm not happy that all of the enforcement has been delegated to the local level, the county in particular. We're balancing, trying to support our businesses with comply with the law itself. So, but I also want to, state that the business response has been great. It really has, and the actions that occurred were probably not unexpected, and not even the business's fault. They were doing what they thought they could do. We've corrected that, and I think we're now are all on the same page at all levels of government moving forward. But this does have impact because Deb's letters are technically representing the Board of Health, which is the legislature. But I do want to be clear that I do not anticipate having to come to the Board of Health with a request for you to take action to sanction a business. So, but that's just for what it's worth. Judy Cherry and I are meeting weekly now at the business's request with the business community to provide updates, and we'll continue to do that throughout the reinsertion back to full non-phased reopenings, I guess. And that is where we're at right now. The other big message to the business community that we need to convey is that it is no longer an automatic move from one phase to the other after 14 days. That will be subject to the executive order being amended, rescinded, or reauthorized for the next phase. So we do not want to create a false sense of security or momentum with businesses, and we want to avoid what happened this past week. I'm also told that the guidance for phase 3 will be released hopefully by the end of this week, so that businesses that will be eligible when phase 3 occurs will be fully aware of the environment that they'll have to operate and the conditions they'll have to operate under before they actually go into phase 3. And for us, phase 3 is the big one. Phase 2 really doesn't add a lot more business to the mix. Phase 3 will, and that's where our economic impact is big, and why we can't afford to delay the opening or the move to phase 3. So I'm hoping that with the independent review that will occur after 14 days and the assumption that our statistics will continue to remain strong, we'll be one of the first to move into phase 3, but it is by no means automatic after 14 days. So I'll stop there, but I just wanted to clarify. Deb, am I missing anything? Is there anything you want to add to that?
No.
Deb, was the 14th case that in the last few days came up as a positive test, was that symptomatic or asymptomatic?
The individual is asymptomatic, and it is unrelated to healthcare. So, it's not a healthcare worker, nursing home worker, but it's an asymptomatic individual.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Tim. And Deb, do you have any more on that topic?
I do not.
Anything else for us?
Not at this time.
And does anyone have any questions or concerns for Deb? All right. Thanks, Deb. We'll move on to community services. Sean?
Hello there. I have only one resolution, which is to authorize a 2-year contract with Aspire Hope, New York. Some of you may know them more as their previously known name, Finger Lakes Parent Network. This contract really is a renewal. They provide children and family services for our community, and this is just updating and renewing their contract.
That's a 2-year contract?
Yes, we moved it to a 2-year contract.
And so that the figure, and I take it that we're missing a comma at 45,549?
Yes.
Okay, so is that the total amount?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, could we change in the first whereas, just change the Aspire Hope New York capitalization to match it in the other ones? It's just hard to read. It looks like Aspire Hoppity.
Yeah.
So it conforms to the second.
To the second and the third and the last, yeah.
Yeah, I thought we changed that, Stacy, when you and I went over it.
We did. I don't know why it's showing up the way it is.
All right.
Well, it's easy enough to fix. We did it once before. Thanks.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. That passes. Anything else?
I just have 2 discussion points. One, there will be an update for our psychologist who provides evaluations. The contract is going to be specifically updated to include CPL 730 exams. That's the criminal procedure law examinations that we are asked to do for somebody in jail or sometimes through court. This is getting harder and harder to get psychologists to do this, psychologists or doctors. But at the same time, the state is looking to the local communities to do more of these evaluations. As such, the psychologists are starting to demand more. The ones that are qualified to do these evaluations or have the experience are starting to demand more money for that. So I am updating our current contract. Stephen will see that soon. And then after Stephen approves that, that will go on to the legislature. So I'm expecting that hopefully by next month. Another discussion, I've talked a couple of times about the need for increased hours on doctor and nurse practitioner prescriber services. I am looking at a part-time doctor, which I'm looking at probably making a part-time position instead of a contract. There are 3 very specific points that make the proposal that I put forth really not applicable to a contract and more of a actual employee. So I'm looking at a very part-time position, which we actually have some hours and money put aside for that. Again, this is more of a discussion. I want the legislature to know that this is coming. And I've talked previously about needing a full-time person, preferably a nurse practitioner, just because it's more cost effective. And that position, we've had options throughout the years, but currently we do not have that on the books. I do have money set aside. Both of these positions cover their salaries with the amount of work that we have and the revenue that they generate. But again, these are both discussions, just preparing you for my next resolutions.
Okay. Chris, could you address a little bit, though, in the terms, since it's, as you say, a very part-time position, why it is that it's preferable as a hire rather than as a contract? Sorry.
Because we are going to, yeah, that's okay. Because we are going to be providing this doctor with a computer that has the actual program set up on it. That's one of the main points. Stephen, what were the other 2? I know there were three points that.
Right. Well, as a general rule, the Department of Labor and the IRS have very specific rules about who's an independent contractor and who's an employee. And among the tests are you supplying the equipment, or is the person doing the work supplying the equipment? If the county is supplying the equipment, that's a point toward this person being an employee. If there's direction over the other employees, that can be a point toward employee, not contractor. Measurable goals, set hours, things like this tend to be classified as employees, not contractors.
Okay, but usually if the person has a large degree of latitude or a specialized skill set, that also points in the direction of contractor.
That might be a factor, Mark, but the simple fact that somebody has a wide degree of skill that does not necessarily make them an independent contractor. For example, all the attorneys that work for the county have at least as high a level of skill as many of the medical professionals, but they would not be qualified or they could not be classified as contractors because they have offices on the premises. They're paid a set amount, things like that. And the same thing with discretion. The attorneys, be it in the PD's office, the DA's office, or my own, have a high degree of discretion in how we perform our duties because we're in fact professionals and licensed. That does not make us contractors. It's the same with medical providers. It really boils down to things like I said, on who's supplying the equipment, who's supplying whom, things like that. And you know, these are not our rules. These are the Department of Labor and the IRS's rules.
Oh, I understand, and we can take this offline, but thank you, that'll work.
Other questions for me or my discussions?
All right, if there's nothing else, Thanks, Sean. We'll
Thank you.
move on to Veteran Services.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Joan.
Update, we did have 2 abbreviated Memorial Day services, one at Montour Falls, Chiquagua Falls, and then up to the Schuyler County Veterans Memorial Park, just honor guard, rendering military honors and taps, and reading of the veterans who we've lost this last year. I am continuing to process claims for our veterans via emails, mail, to the best, I can, till I can get them in the office. And when they do, it'll be, when we do reopen, it'll be because of our close proximity, we'll all be wearing masks. So, any questions?
No more questions for Joan?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anything else for this committee? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right.
Okay, Mark, you're up.
Just a second, Carl, I'm going to have to leave the meeting. So since we have so many members present, I'll leave it to you to substitute somebody for me for the next 2 committees.
Got it.
Okay, thank you.
And we're paused recording. Before we start, can you see the CD&R agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Mark, let me know when you're ready and I'll resume recording.
Go for it. Okay.
Stacy, who we got that can fill in for Mike?
Well, it depends. Jim, can you hear us? Can we hear you, Jim Howell?
I'm sorry, you broke up.
We're unable to, Jim can hear us, but we can't hear him in order to make motions and vote. So if you want to sit in, Carl, we'll have Rondinero, Gray, and yourself.
Okay, that's great.
All right, I'm resuming recording.
Okay.
Okay, Mark.
Okay, morning, guys. Welcome to CDNR. First off on the agenda, we don't have anybody from the chamber on, do we?
No, we don't have any
Okay.
contract.
No, none of the outside agencies
Okay,
are on.
very good. So you've seen the report. Paul gave an extensive look at what's going on. The biggest thing to me is that our social media visits seem to be falling off, which is a little bit of a surprise to me, but I guess people figure if they can't come out, there isn't much to keep track of, but that's where we sit. Any questions on the chambers stuff? Okay. So next up was Judy did not send out anything. So possibly she'll give an update soon. I know they've been very, very busy both on the COVID side and also the business attraction side has been quite busy. The one thing I would point out is that it's still a go. Things are moving forward on the Silk Lantern Festival.
You're on the wrong agenda, Mark. You've got
there is
planning on.
No, there isn't anything from Judy to show.
Okay, nothing at all.
No.
Right. But I just wanted to let everybody know that Silk Lantern is still moving forward, but it looks like it's probably going to shift to the October to December timeframe for that. So, but that's we will be one of only 3 in the entire between Europe and the States, and the only other one in the States will be the one in Branson, Missouri. So that this should be something that is quite a draw. Okay, moving on to planning department. Kristen, are you on the call?
I'm here. Yeah, so not a ton to report this month. We just keep working along a lot of the meetings are happening virtually and are going really well. So I don't have any issues there. The census effort continues. You can see the breakdown of where we are. It just checked. We're up to 50% as of today. So in there, they're starting to deliver the questionnaires to houses that don't have mailboxes. So I think we'll start to see the town of Tyrone and parts of Hector really start popping up in their numbers once people have their questionnaires delivered to them. Other than that, I kind of keep working along on COVID issues that pop up or where I can be of assistance. Assistance scoped where they need it. So things are going well.
Very good. So what is the Glen Landing townhouses?
That's the project that is going to be located next to where the current wastewater treatment plant is. On that chunk of land there on our waterfront. So they're building 15 townhomes. It will be in 2 phases. The first phase will build 7 or 8 of them in a clubhouse, and then the second phase will build the rest of them.
Okay, so that's further to the east.
Correct. It's on that strip between sort of where the wastewater treatment plant is and Cargill is.
Okay.
On the
Yep.
side, the boat storage is to the south of it.
Got it. Yep.
But it should be a really good project.
Very good. Any other questions for Kristen? Sounds like not. Thank you, Kristen.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Oh, I did have one other update. So Clue Park went out to bid. We had a good pre-bid meeting. We've got some comments and questions in. There's a chance, it's sounding like we're gonna push those bids out maybe a week, if not 2 weeks, just to make sure that the contractors all have time to get a really good bid in, that we get their questions answered and they can make a solid bid. So they were due next week, but I expect it'll be at least.
Do you have any projection of how many people are interested? You think that it's a number substantially better? I mean, like we didn't get anything on the wastewater reuse expression of interest.
Right. We had it looks like about 15 firms and 4 big guys. So I expect we'll get hopefully we'll get a good bid back, but there's 3 that are actively asking a lot of questions. So I do think that at least 3 of the bigger known construction firms will be bidding.
Okay, very good. And the other question, I guess, that I've got, since we're staring at it,
Sorry,
any STN update
Um,
in terms of the?
Yeah, so next week, the study is coming along well. We heard initial sort of market assessment from Fujitsu last Thursday, and on Monday, Tim, myself, Mark Taylor, and possibly Judy will be sitting down with them, as well as Steve Manning from STN, to really do a deep dive into the data for Schuyler County. So they did a broad assessment for us, and now we'll sit down and really look through it all with them, and they'll explain everything for our county.
Okay.
And that's happening Monday.
At some point, I would like to look at that data as well, just to go, because this is something that I do have some background, but if there is an opportunity, if not, I'll follow it further up the road. But
No, not a problem. Actually, I'll send you the presentation that they gave last week. That was the first one that actually I've attended. Kristen's been carrying the load on this, and I'll send you the invitation to the Monday meeting if you want to sit in on that.
sounds good. What time is that on Monday?
11.
11.
11.
Oh.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah, it's 11.
Yeah.
And they use Teams. So.
Okay. Oh, sure. Yeah. Yep. Okay. I would appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. That's good. Thank you, Kristen.
You're welcome.
Next. You've got Phil's report from CCE in front of you. Mike Michael's off the call. So I guess the only thing for me to point out is that camp is official. So the Hidden Valley camp is officially closed for the season. They will not be opening in any form, whether day camp or not. So that's really a very sad situation, but I can certainly understand the necessity. But so that's the one update I can give you from what Phil has reported here. Any questions? I'm not.
Mark, I need to let you all know that apparently on my desk in Jamie's office this morning was a bag of homemade masks with 4-H all over them.
Okay.
So must be somebody from Cooperative Extension made them for the legislators.
Okay.
Leave them
Very
on
nice.
Jamie's desk. You all have key card access and keys to come in. If you'd like to pick one up or obtain one, they will be on Jamie's desk.
Sounds great. Tim, is that actually allowable under the current
Yes.
state?
Yeah.
Okay.
Our buildings are not closed. You're able to come in, and we're just not open to the public.
Okay. Okay. Very good.
There's quite a few pay stubs in your mailboxes for some of you too. So
Yeah, I can imagine. I just didn't realize that we actually had legal access as opposed to just physical access.
No, not a problem.
Okay.
as long as you're not all in here at the same time.
Right.
Okay, so we have a resolution in front of us to authorize amendment to existing intermunicipal agreement with the Village of Montour Falls and authorize use of economic development funds for expenses related to the Catherine Valley Trail. So do we have a
And this
continue.
represents the consensus among the attorneys that conforms to the legislature's most recent determination, if you will. Stephen can certainly add to this, but what this does is codify what's been previously discussed, and the county would, after adopting this, could then provide the funding upon completion of the work.
This is an attempt to codify what we believe the legislature was willing to consider. The village is well aware, though, that it has to be approved by the legislature before anything can occur.
Correct.
So this means, I guess I didn't remember it quite like this, but this says that, they have no stake in terms, because it seems to read to me that as long as they've spent $50,000 on the thing, we're in for the whole, even if they spent 50,000 in one. Was that people's memory? I thought that they had already more than some investment in this.
They do, and actually the bid that they came back to replace the bridge is $109,000 plus
Okay.
their engineering costs.
And the amount that was available from the Omara, whatever, I can't think of the slush fund money.
Yeah. That is still questionable. The amount was $50,000.
Okay. Okay, do we have anybody,
I got a question. This is only paid if the bridge is built, correct?
Correct.
All right. I'll make the motion. Great.
Okay. Do we have a second? Second, Rondinaro. We have hearing a motion in a second. I'm calling for any further discussion. Calling the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? It moves forward. With the caveat, I still think this sets a bad precedent.
Well, and Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong here, because I haven't been following this all that much, but this is amending the existing agreement that states that if the O'Mara funding comes in, oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. Never mind. I remember now. That wasn't enough anyways. It's no longer just in advance.
No.
No, it's a payment upon completion and determination by the county that the work was acceptable, among other things.
All right. Yep. I got it.
Well, wasn't there also something, if I remember correctly, about this that in the end it's not really a loan that we're not getting paid back this money? Was that what I originally remembered?
That's correct. It was never intended to be a loan.
It was a loan, now it's an out and out grant.
So
and
why
the legislature approves it.
So why is the term loan, the appearance that they're going to pay us back even in this resolution?
I believe it's up at the top to indicate it was a loan, and then the rest of the document sets forth that it is no longer a loan.
Right.
Right.
Because this was
somebody
authorized in
normally
January.
reading this right in the beginning. Someone reading this, like I'm reading it in front of me, and after the first whereas, it says loan, and then even though it says not a loan at the end, or infers that it may be a grant, okay, then the term loan should never even appear in this resolution.
No, the first whereas references what you're amending. It previously was a loan. That's what the first whereas does. It's being the action is to convert it to a grant.
Okay. Okay.
I got a question on the loan thing. I think that's why I was agreeing to the resolution. Tim, let me ask you, does this $50,000, I mean, with what's going on with the sales tax and stuff, is this still a good idea?
Well, it's certainly not the best time to be doing this, but the commitment was made prior to this. We did increase our economic development reserve fund in 2019. I think future requests certainly would be given much more debate and discussion, and I certainly couldn't recommend anything moving forward at this time. However, since this was agreed to prior to that, it comes down to a question of whether it would be right to pull it. I don't, from a financial standpoint, have major concerns regarding this, but I certainly wouldn't be able to support future requests, certainly.
Right, but my particular take on the, and I agree 100%. We sort of have to go forward as long as we can be assured and we have some at least oversight in terms of making sure that that this is done in the, well, I guess this doesn't even say that if this thing were to come in under the $100,000 that they should get only the maximum required, but that this is done in the most fiscally responsible way possible. I just would like some feeling of that because I can absolutely assure that other municipalities are going to come back and say, you throw 50,000 at Montour and you won't give 10 for us.
Correct. I can see
And
that.
those will ultimately be decisions of the legislature, but you do control unilaterally the ability to disperse these funds.
Understood.
I stand by my motion.
Okay. So I guess we're on to the next one. Okay. Have you guys all had a chance to read this?
I have.
Very good. So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Flowers.
Second, Blowers. Discussion. Tim, did you have anything that you wanted to, I know that you had some concerns about this.
Well, the only, I'm sure you're aware that the Senate and Assembly bills that you're supporting have been defeated. So there's nothing, that happened last week.
Okay,
So,
I had not seen that.
Yeah.
So
So they never made it out of committee.
No, I think it did come out of committee. I think it was voted down. I didn't follow it closely, but it was acted on last week from what I read.
Okay, good. So it failed on the floor. I didn't even hear about
Yeah,
that.
I think it was a week ago Wednesday.
I guess it
Today.
doesn't make sense to, well, no, I would like to hear the
Hear what, Mark?
Mark, we can't hear
What
you.
do you want to hear, Mark?
He seems to be frozen up.
I have a question on this.
Go ahead.
In the title, last line, should it be balances and preserve separation of powers?
Sorry, guys. My Zoom just died out of nowhere.
You're back now.
Okay. I don't know what what were transpired while I was gone for probably a minute.
No, Van had a question on the introduction to the resolution. Why don't you go ahead, Van?
Okay, last line of the introduction, balances and preserve separation of powers or separate of powers?
I think it should be separation of powers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I'm still not seeing the
title.
In the title.
Okay.
Yeah, last couple words.
Yes.
In the,
Yeah. Right. Separation of powers is.
Yes.
But I think given what Tim has just told us, and I guess I knew that when I seconded it, so I'll apologize. But we probably ought to just pull this. There's no reason to, give the governor any fodder to be upset with Schuyler County.
Yeah, except I also have a concern that if nobody goes on record saying that this thing is outrageous above and beyond, you got to. If there was no shot, it wouldn't be the shot heard around the world.
I'd like to follow through with it, so at least the state legislature knows. I mean, even if we have to add to it, that it's with deep regret that we realize this wasn't passed, but we would still like our voice heard.
Okay, maybe what we want to do then is pull it back and rework to say something like, we're deeply, I don't know.
Well, you're
Disappointed?
not supporting,
Right.
you're not supporting any legislation with this.
Right.
You know, if you want a resolution to say that was a bad call, legislature, that's fine.
Okay. Well, I guess then it's not time critical right now, so I would support pulling it back and rewording to make
Okay.
it current. What's you guys made the motion?
Mark, can I jump in for a second?
Sure.
Maybe I'm confused, but I just did a bill lookup. On the Helming bill, I just went to the website and it says it's currently still in committee. It doesn't say it was defeated, this particular bill, with this bill number.
Then I may be in error. I just going from what I read, and I
remember
thought that it was acted on last week.
Well, I do remember a similar bill on something with the governor's power, what was defeated, but I don't know if it was this one or not.
Okay.
Like
Well,
I said,
maybe we should get clarification.
Yes,
We certainly should get clarification.
I would keep this on and we can withdraw it on Monday.
Yeah.
Or what?
Sure.
What is your suggestion, Tim? Okay.
You can withdraw it now from your committee and it won't go any further.
Right, but if it's still alive, we want to actually make it available to be acted on.
Correct. Let's keep it and research it, and we can vote on it Monday, one way or the other.
Take it to Monday night.
Okay.
There you
Sure.
go.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Resolution for support, federal bipartisan state and aid municipal aid for recovery and transition smart fund. I guess I assume you've read the resolution. Do I have a motion? I'll move it. Do we have a second?
I'll second. Gray will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mark, I'm not on your committee, but I'm going to weigh in on this. I will not support this until the first motion is taken care of, where the governor loses his authority to handle all this money. He set himself up where my grandkids' grandkids are going to be paying this debt back. And with Cuomo at the helm, I have no trust whatsoever with any money coming to New York State till he changes his spending practices and gets off his dictatorship. So I won't support it. Federal dollars can stay with somebody else that appreciates it, not somebody that complains all the time.
I certainly.
For what it's worth, I did send you a comparison of this versus the Heroes one, I guess it was. But I know in speaking with the congressman, there is specific language in this proposal to mandate that local governments receive direct aid, whether it funnels through the state or not. It would be a condition of the funding.
Right, but 50% of the funding for each state is directed to the state government itself. So Phil is
Correct.
right in the.
I follow what you're saying.
So the good thing about this one is it guarantees our portion has to reach us, but it
Correct.
still does provide a pot of money for the governor to do with as he sees fit. And I certainly, it's just that really, part of the thing is something's going to pass and I'd rather have something that's better than something worse. And the second thing is there is strong local need for some support.
I would echo that, and certainly if it doesn't go to the state, we're going to lose it either way, because the governor has the ability through the budget process to cut. And right now the number is 20%. It could go as high as 50% depending on what happens with the state. So if the state were hypothetically not to get funding, anything we receive from the federal government would just be offset by what we lost from the state. So for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, and that's the good thing about this particular bill is that it specifically says that the state doesn't get their funds if they try to recapture RPs.
Correct.
So.
Yep.
Okay, well, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's that. We have a motion for Jerry that I sort of skipped over, I guess. Soil and water. So you see what it is. It's authorizing the district for services in the amount of 165,000, including 20,000 for the stream bank. Anybody want to make a motion? I'll move it. Can we get a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
I'll second.
Any opposed?
Great, great. Second.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Were you in favor of the motion too? Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes.
And we have a motion at the very end of the agenda as well.
Right. First, did you have anything on transportation, Tim, to bring
Mark,
us up?
you're cutting in and out, man.
Sorry about that.
No, I have nothing new to submit.
Okay, last one. We have a motion renewing the contract with Southern Tier Central Regional Planning and Development Board in the amount of 35,400, 400 of which will be not invoiced because the conference was canceled. Would anybody like to make that motion?
I'll move it.
Do we have a second? I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, I believe that's all for this committee. Anybody
Actually,
else?
Mr. Chairman, if I could add one thing.
Yeah.
And only because I just this minute got an email from the mayor of Watkins Glen asking county's thoughts on the chamber hosting or sponsoring fireworks on July 3rd at Clue Park. The thought would be that it would be vehicle only, but they're asking the counties, or I was asking my thoughts on this, but since the legislature's meeting, I thought I'd pass that along. You know, I literally am just reading this, so I haven't really digested it, but the village is asking for some county input on whether to have fireworks on the 3rd. My initial thought would be if it can be done in compliance with, you know, all of the, whatever the social distancing and the executive orders are at the time. But again, I defer to you as well.
I think at the very least, we're going to want a written agreement with the village that they'll defend, indemnify, et cetera, the county for any activity there, especially at this point.
Well, this would be at Clue Park. They're simply just asking an opinion. It wouldn't involve the county at all.
And my biggest concern is, how do they keep the streets open for fire and emergency or whatever, because that's going to severely limit the number of people that will be able to go down to the park to attend. So basically they're going to, the first thought that comes to mind is they're going to park right along 4th Street in the traffic lanes.
Well, they always block that, so I don't think that's an issue, but.
Yeah, but most years they actually have places for people to go.
Yeah.
Right.
And what do we do about mass gathering, Tim?
Right.
How many people do we get to these fireworks?
No, it wouldn't meet that threshold.
Well, take mass gathering out of it. I mean, we're still gonna have people walking into Clute Park, right?
Yeah, I think, if they were asking to do it, say this weekend, it would be absolutely impossible to
Yeah.
permit because of the unknowns. I think from what I'm hearing, my response will be is that, we're leery of this, or I'm leery of this. And, the village is the one that's going to be put in the place of trying to have to control this. So ultimately it'll be their decision, but I think they're looking for somebody to side with them as well on this from the way he's asking. I don't think the village is real anxious to do this themselves.
Sounds that way, but you ought to have some language in there that says it has to be in compliance with whatever phase we're in at that time.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if they can realistically, number one, we can't predict what it's going to be at that time. There's obviously obligations that would need to be made in advance of that. I would say this is probably, unfortunately, a year that's going to have to be canceled.
I agree with you, Tim, particularly based on what's happened in the last 7 days with all these riots.
Yep. Yeah, that's another good point.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Okay, I will respond accordingly.
Good. Thanks.
I think it's ultimately it's a big decision. Let them make it.
Yes. Yep. And they will.
Where are you, Mark?
So that should be everything. I think we're ready to close, and I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Great seconds.
Okay, we stand adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Finance and or management and facilities is Phil there?
Okay, I've paused recording.
Okay.
He's coming back.
Can we unmute him? He's
Well,
done, he can do it himself.
Okay.
Once I start recording again, I'm gonna step out to use the restroom. Mark, or do you want to take a break right?
Okay, here he is.
I'm here.
Do you want to start? I will resume recording.
All right, I'll call the meeting to order. Elizabeth, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Good morning, how are you?
Good morning. I have a resolution to amend our current Toshiba maintenance contract to include two newly purchased copiers.
I'll move it.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
We
Very
have,
good, thank you.
Okay,
Phil,
thank you.
Yes,
we don't have Jim participating still, so Carl is your third member.
okay. Anything else for Elizabeth? Thanks, Libby. Have a good day. Say hi to your husband.
I will. Thanks, guys.
Holly? Holly?
She's muted and maybe not able to unmute herself.
Yeah,
And-
gotta have Tim back, I think.
Right, Tim said he was going to the
Oh,
lavatory.
nope, there she is.
Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yeah, now we got you.
me? Okay. All right. Well, good morning. We have our sales tax report available that I'm sure you've all been keeping an eye on. We still are up from last year, although we aren't where we thought that we would be. And I think when we get our next quarter's payments in, we'll have a better idea as to how severely this has affected Schuyler County. Our financial system update, we're still working away. We're going to be having some Zoom type meetings to keep on track with the financial system. And then I know Tim is aware of this. I let him know that we have seen a reduction, a slowing in our payments from the state over the past couple of weeks. So I'm not sure if that's due to our, being at 50% and slowing down on our claims, or if the state is kind of slowing down on payments, and it may be a combination of the two, but just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that as well. And that's all that I have. If anybody has any questions.
Do we have a prediction when the first of the May sales tax reports will be coming in?
I don't, not at this time. We usually receive payment within the first 13 days, so hopefully we'll be getting something soon. But we haven't received any funds yet. I've been checking every day, and we haven't received anything in.
Okay.
Anything else for Hallie? Thank you, Hallie.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yep. Tom?
Tom's not
I don't
on.
believe Tom.
All right. Stacy?
I have the standard workday and reporting resolution for 2020 with just legislator Rondinero in the resolution.
So Rondinaro is going to is two enough to do this one? Because I think that I should actually abstain for voting on this.
You certainly can. We would have to go down the line of seniority and have, let me see, we've got Barnes, Rondinero, Blowers.
Stephen, is there any reason for an abstention?
That's what I was thinking. Obviously,
I
abstention.
don't see that it's necessary.
Well, it's voting on my own retirement.
All you're doing is certifying. It's what you're voting on is a public record.
Yeah, you're not voting on a contract with yourself. You're not voting on supervising yourself.
You're not approving anything.
Right. You're simply acknowledging. I would say your vote is simply acknowledging a state of facts. So I don't believe you'd have to abstain. In fact, it's like the budget. I mean, the budget affects you indirectly, but you wouldn't abstain on that.
Oh, absolutely. My question here, though, is that the legislature is actually certifying that this is my official work record. At least that's my understanding. But if you say it's nothing, I'll go for it.
If I had 4 or 5 legislators listed, then it wouldn't pass.
Right. That's what I mean. This is more of a like I said, this is not really you certifying your own work. It's
This is the state making us do a resolution to post on our webpage is what this is.
right. Like I said, it's more of an acknowledgement of reality.
Right.
Okay.
Standard work.
I'll move it.
Actual work.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Then I have the authorized distribution of mortgage tax receipts pursuant to section 261 of the New York State tax law for the period of October 1st, 2019 through March 31st, 2020.
I'll move it.
Have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That's all I have.
All right. I have a motion on this resolution from Board of Elections.
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 I have a motion on this.
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Very good. Now,
We have one more resolution. Lori is on. This is authorizing a stipulation agreement as part of a disciplinary procedure for a staff person.
I know Gary wanted some information on it and was hoping we could do an executive session. Gary now has left also, so.
Now Gary's
Gary's
still on, I believe.
Shows he's still there.
They sent me a
No,
text. You there?
I did. I was trying to get off, but I'm in the car listening.
Well, in any event, if anybody wants to discuss this, I believe it would be necessary to make a motion to enter into executive session to discuss the employment history of individual or matters relating to hiring, firing, discipline, et cetera, of a particular individual.
I would like more information if we can do a short executive, but so I would move to go into executive session for exactly that.
Do I have a motion?
That I
Mark
made
made the
second.
motion. Second.
Okay,
I'll second it.
consider ourselves an executive session.
Well, before doing that, what I would suggest is do it at the end of conducting business before you exclude anybody that may be from the public or, not involved in the executive session.
I don't think
I don't
we
know
have
if we're
anything
done
else.
yet, but
I don't think we have anything else, do we?
No,
unless you have specific questions, non-agenda related, but management and finance related.
No.
Okay, then.
are you still recording?
Yes. But I'm going to pause that. We also are, we're live streaming, I'll have to stop that. That will be the end of this meeting.